Ladies and gentlemen, you welcome to this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television, broadcasting from Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bable Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, the two Anglophone regions of the Republic of Cameroon, the Northwest and the Southwest regions, have not known peace for close to 3 years today as a result of the deepening Anglophone crisis, and some elite in some parts of the region and some organizations are now working on peace building, notably enforcing or empowering the population to be messengers or crusaders of peace in their respective communities. And we shall also be showing you the deplorable state of roads in the locality of Ezeka in the Nyanwankele Division Center region of the Republic of Cameroon. Stay with us. Peace has become a very rare commodity, so to speak, in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon for close to 3 years today. Peace has left the two Anglophone regions of the country as a result of the socio-political and security crisis hitting those parts of President Paul Biya's country for close to 3 years today. And the government has been struggling alongside other stakeholders to restore peace and normalcy in those two regions, to no avail. Until now, the situation remains precarious. Killings have continued, abduction, destruction of properties and other atrocities are still being committed in those two regions. And now some individuals, notably elites as well as some non-governmental organizations, are now striving to build peace or to restore peace in those two regions by empowering individuals, inhabitants of the different communities to be peace crusaders. Details for me, Armstrong Sander.
Peace for over 2 years and running. Inhabitants of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, in their vast majority today, crave for peace and an end to suffering. They know peace is vital for any meaningful development, and the departure of peace since the start of the Anglophone crisis in 2016 has destroyed livelihood, lifestyle, and the very foundation of the development of the people of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. The fear for things to go wider and worsen further preoccupies local leaders, non-governmental organizations, and international partners like the United Nations Development Programme and the African Justice for Peace Association, who have anticipated in the Donga-Mantung division by empowering peace builders, peace crusaders, and ambassadors.
We have trained, empowered, and equipped 64 peace builders, 64 peace ambassadors, 64 peace crusaders from all the 5 subdivisions of Donga-Mantung. We have deployed them to the various communities, various villages, to go back, observe, identify the conflict style, respond to the conflict, to prevent violence.
For an effective penetration of the peace message, facilitators targeted the sociological composition of the areas concerned.
30 women, 30 men, 4 traditional rulers, Muslim community, the disabled, IDPs, are pregnant and not just enough to deliver. We have put in place a network of peace crusaders where each subdivision is having a coordination unit.
Custodians of the traditions of the people in the regions concerned have also been victims of the worsening insecurity and are hungry for strategies to bring back peace to their areas.
We are told that at home we should slow down our tempers. Left to me, before I will come here, I thought that in my village or in our division, they will take arms against what's happening, we'll solve it. But here the people are known. These arms will not help us.
For 5 days, facilitators engage in practical devices in Kambe on how to restore peace through mediation and negotiations.
Go home and be the peace builder that we intended for you to be. Being is far better than doing.
Participants say the exercise was timely and rich, promising to impact and expand peace not only within Donga Mantung Division but to the entire conflict-hit northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon.
And because of the difficult socio-political and security climate reigning in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, access to health care has become more or less an uphill task and even impossible in some parts of the two Anglophone regions of the country, as health centers and hospitals have been shut down as a result of the crisis, and the health personnel have departed the areas, notably the areas badly hit by gun battles and of course the destruction of properties. Some health amenities have come under attack. Some have severely been attacked and burnt down, and now in the meantime institutions, higher institutions of learning, notably in the southwest region of the country, are sending out tens of health personnel who are expected to serve the people living in the hinterlands. Derijato has more.
The challenge has been a huge one, as many doctors and nurses have been fleeing out of the northwest and southwest regions because of attacks on them or for the fear of being victims. The health sector has been hit seriously in this crisis. Many hospitals have come under guns and fire, with personnel wounded, some dead and others missing, leaving most patients to be their doctors. The brainchild institution of the University of Buea is graduating a total of 609 health personnel. And today, Dr. Francisca Biaka, the Vice Chancellor of Biaka Institute of Buea, is sending out 609 health personnel equipped.
All that we do is in the best interest of the community that sends students to us to be trained. Our goal is to promote high-level specialization across disciplines.
The graduating medical students were also called upon to use the same wisdom they applied during this tense atmosphere to keep up with their studies, to do same, not by only remaining in hospitals, but to go even into the bushes to treat and save lives in these trouble-hit regions.
And besides the guns staring at the people in the northwest and southwest regions of the country in their faces, there is equally the risk of a landslide that is at the doorsteps of inhabitants of Sisia quarters and other areas, notably at the foot of the upstation hill. The people have continued to occupy those areas, forbidding for human habitation as a result of the risk of a possible landslide that could occur at any time. And a correspondent in the northwest region, Bustela, was there and she compiled this report.
In this slope from downtown Bamenda, it looks beautiful and a sight worth visiting. This is the Sisia neighborhood located at the foot of the station hill in Bamenda. At least 80 households are exposed to high risks in this area that was already declared unfit for human settlement. In 2015, a slum upgrading program was launched with aims at reducing the population living in slum areas, enhancing the process of decentralization and improve urban governance. Today, the population of Sisia is increasing. New houses are being built, many without building permits. Some of the inhabitants are aware of the dangers involved in creating more living space by digging below the slope, but have blamed their continuous stay on the lack of means to gain accommodation elsewhere in town.
For this place, as you see me, so I be the work job more blocks when I pay, because I stay for the place when I reach place, so I don't get me any place to stay. So I don't get no choice to stay there because I don't get any place to go there.
I know say na risk, but the only thing I say, money no be there for go for find place, go buy place.
Many have mixed feelings as to what may happen in the near future.
You don't say rich day. More than 10 years. No, not it. Because I don't stay. Because me, I want come for years. So people them there. And I no nothing.
No, I'm not afraid that the place can come down and come and meet us here. Because for the past 10 years, we have been here and nothing has ever happened. Never fear na say some other if he call us if he do now because he dey na for we pray for update. Pray for up that side because some feed day for up here they play ball for them.
The Sisia neighborhood is characterized by flood-prone areas, narrow roads and unplanned buildings. This exposes thousands who live there to very high risks.
That is the situation in Sisia quarters, and we are continuing with our series on risk zones occupied by inhabitants across Cameroon. And of course we continue with something else to talk about the locality of Disange. It is of course in the Senegal Maritime Division in the littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon, and we are talking about the absence of electricity in that locality as we hear in the following report.
Found in the Senegal Maritime Division, Littoral Region, Disange Subdivision, whose divisional officer was recently installed, is hit by recurrent month of power outage.
At times we go over for a whole month without any electricity. And you know, when there is no electricity, there is no food, there is no life, there is nothing.
On en souffre vraiment, nous qui fonctionnons via l'énergie. Parce que sans énergie, on ne peut rien faire, nous les pères de famille, donc c'est pas vraiment évident.
Some booming economic activities which require electricity are compelled to slow down with losses incurred.
Une semaine, voire parfois 2-3 semaines comme ça, le poisson est obligé parfois de pourrir.
For instance, fish stocked in the freezer gets bad and either obliged to be eaten or disposed.
Ça peut être énorme sur l'activité.
At times, the epileptic supply of energy enables them to carry out some activities against future unforeseen situations.
Nous sommes obligés de repasser tel que vous voyez, parce qu'on sait que d'un instant à un autre, le courant va s'en aller.
The situation is often attributed to fallen electric poles.
Avec l'arrivée du nouveau sous-préfet, on espère qu'il pourra vraiment.
They pray with the coming of the new sub-prefect, this social ill be redressed.
If he can, our aspirations are just that he should do his best to solve such a problem.
The Disange inhabitants also wish the divisional officer does his utmost best to equally provide potable water and good passable roads, which are also lacking in the municipality.
And I told you in the headlines that we're going to show you the deplorable state of roads in the locality of Ezeka in the Nyong and Kele Division, Central Region of the Republic of Cameroon. Several kilometers of roads in that part of the country in an advanced state of dilapidation, and the circulation of vehicles, motorbikes, and even the movement of persons has become very difficult as a result of the bad state of roads, also affecting economic and business activities in general in the locality. We'll be coming back to that report. Time for us to move over to Sangmelima in the south region of the Republic of Cameroon, where the military engineering unit has brought some solution to the problem of bad roads in that part of the country, and the military engineering unit has constructed a bridge and of course a road which is seen by the people of Sangmelima as a gateway to development of their locality. Immaculate Fogwe reports.
This stretch of road linking the newly built Sangmalima modern market few months back was practically inaccessible for vehicles. The 2-kilometer bridge, constructed by the military engineering group known by its French acronym Génie Militaire, in partnership with Cameroon's government, breathes a sigh of relief, especially to road users who have been struggling to access the Sangmalima modern market and its central town. Colonel Jacques Jackson Kamgan, director of the military engineering group, throws more light on the work done. Over 2 kilometers of the main stretch has been tarred, with a bridge of 26 meters constructed and several minor stretches and lanes equally tarred. The construction of the bridge was very important as inhabitants see the action as a gateway to other developmental projects in Sangmalima. Added to the construction of the bridge is installation of street lights, which will soon go operational.
Based on the challenges faced in most local enterprises across the African continent with regards to the norms and conformity, experts on the international landscape have identified stumbling blocks not enabling these enterprises to grow and to have the direct actors more edified. The two-day seminar has been organized here in the economic capital Douala by the Cameroon Employers Union. We have details with Hermini Luga.
It is a reality in most African countries. A good number of enterprises still face enormous challenges with respect to conformity and regulation in their respective domains. A pertinent sector of case study are financial structures, with norms constantly switching.
Lac de maturité, comme on dit en anglais, c'est-à-dire.
Mohamed Daoud is a business development director. He specifies it's a huge reality which affects emerging countries in Africa.
Dans tous les pays émergents en Afrique.
The stakes are thus high. Issues of norms and regularization play a great role to enable enterprises blossom. Vanessa Happy is a legal mind who hits on key points to benefit enterprises. For example, how to know your regulations, implement, and how to abide to a culture of conformity. These are then the realities on the field which has thus far motivated a two-day seminar in Shikam attended by heads of enterprises, legal minds, and financial and non-financial institutions to enable them understand the essence to flow with respect to norms and conformity in your various areas of activities. Amongst other key points discussed, participants are drilled on CIMAC exchange principles, the fight against money laundering, as well as innovative techniques.
Talking Point is up next. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us in Talking Point, and in line with the 2019 World Day Against Diabetes, we are receiving a medical specialist. Dr. Ivan Nkeng is an endocrinologist. You're welcome.
Thanks very much.
All right, we're going to start with your domain of specialty, your domain of specialization, endocrinology. What is it all about?
Well, endocrinology is it's in our domain. We treat hormones, hormones, and since today is the World Diabetes Day, diabetes being an illness which is caused by the reduction of the production of a hormone which is known as insulin. So we are the ones treating this illness.
All right, today is the World Day for the fight against diabetes, and talking about diabetes, what is the situation as of now with regards to the prevalence rate in Cameroon, in Africa, and across the world?
Yeah, in Cameroon, we are at about 8% of the population. But in Africa, we have, the last statistics show that we had more than 16 million diabetic patients in Africa. And the number of diabetic patients are rising every day, and we consider that in about 20-25 years to come, it will really rise exponentially to about 115%. That's to about 400,000 diabetic patients. Yeah. So today, diabetes is a challenge, in our health system. The health system, not only in Africa but in the whole world, because of the complications diabetes can bring. Diabetes is an illness which brings complications, and complications which are very difficult to yield at the end.
The prevalence rate is equally rising in Cameroon, and it's a serious health challenge, as you indicated. What accounts for the rise? Why is it that the figures are rising?
No, diabetes is first of all.
Does it have to do with the way people?
Yeah, it's because of our lifestyles. We've changed our lifestyles.
Eating
today.
Habits.
Our eating habits. We are less. We move less. And become more obese, and that's why diabetes comes.
All right. What are some of the signs of diabetes? Some of the indications.
Diabetes. The signs are frequent urinating, weight loss, drinking lots of water. You can have dizziness. Those are the basic. The basic symptoms of diabetes. Those drink a lot of water, urinate a lot, and loss of weight.
Right. Yeah. Once somebody has these symptoms, once you observe these symptoms, is it automatic that you are likely to have diabetes, or it may not be the case?
It might be not the case because it's just symptoms of an illness, but if somebody has these symptoms, or one or two of these symptoms, it's better to go to a health center or towards a medical doctor, do your blood sugar, to confirm that you're a diabetic patient or not. Because when they do your blood sugar, if the blood sugar is more than 1.26, then you can confirm. If it happens more than once, then you can confirm that the person is a diabetic patient. If at all after eating the blood sugar is more than 2 grams per liter, then you can say to that the person is a diabetic patient. So there are two cases when you can say if somebody is diabetic. When after eating, about 2 hours after eating, if the blood sugar is more than 2 grams per liter, or without eating the blood sugar is more than 1.26, you can say confirm that the person is a diabetic patient. So when we discover this, then I think it's better to go towards a medical doctor for a
right. In a short while, we'll talk about what to do when you discover that you're diabetic. But first of all, I want to understand something concerning the causes, concerning the factors that can provoke or that can lead somebody to diabetes.
Already, it's a genetically linked illness. So, first of all, if somebody is, for somebody to become diabetic patient, in the family, you must have people or people who lived with diabetes, also who suffer from diabetes. Secondly, there is overweight. Overweight is the main cause of diabetes. And somebody with overweight, and those who eat without controlling. You can eat more caloric foods, sweet foods, and very fatty foods. As people who don't move a lot, those people can develop diabetes.
Okay, and talking about weight, when somebody's weight is very high, and the person tries to do some physical activities and so on in order to reduce in weight, but the weight seems not to be reducing. I'm talking about people who are sometimes referred to as being constitutionally fat, not fat because they are eating a lot, but just fat by nature. Not only fat, but having the weight by nature. What should sort of a person who is in this kind of situation do in order to avoid the risk of becoming diabetic?
Yeah, if there is no other pathology which causes overweight, then you can understand that we don't take weight just like that. You must take energy, and weight is extra energy. So the person has to reduce at least the quantity of food he's taking in. Or secondly, the person must be somebody, if you change his lifestyle.
Control your eating habits.
Eating habits and your lifestyle. You must be physically active, you must do sports. And if it doesn't work, then it's better to go towards a medical doctor or a dietitian for better advice.
Is there any link between weight and eating late in the night?
Of course. Somebody who eats late in the night won't be physically active. When you eat, you must use the energy you take in. If at all you take in energy and you don't use the energy, then you'll take weight. It's good to eat earlier, use the energy, and don't take the weight. If you eat and just sleep, then you take weight, of course.
So you're saying that it's inappropriate to eat and go to bed, eat and sleep.
Eat and sleep. I mean,
no matter the time, whether it's in the day or it's in the night.
Generally, you have 3 basic meals. You have your breakfast. Breakfast, you shouldn't eat a lot. In the afternoon, that's your main meal, because that's when you use your main energy in the afternoon. And in the evening, you shouldn't eat very heavily before you sleep. If you eat heavy foods for you sleep, of course, you accumulate the energy you've taken, because you don't use the energy. At the end, you start taking weight. Generally, somebody who eats, this is something you have to take from one case to the other, because somebody who does a very physical job, very energetic job, he should eat more than somebody who doesn't really do something, physical. Because
the physical exercise consumes the energy taken in.
Yeah.
And the person who is not doing physical exercises will maintain the energy that has been taken in.
That's it.
All right. Now, when you are diabetic, the manifestation, what is the impact on the human system? How does it manifest? How does it affect the human system?
Yes, so as I said, diabetes is an illness which gives complications. And we are not afraid of the high blood sugar. The high blood sugar can always be broken down. Can always break down the blood sugar. But the other problem is that this high blood sugar can give complications. These complications can be very fatal for the patient. That is, you can develop stroke if you're a diabetic patient. You can have heart attack. You can have kidney dysfunction, that is renal insufficiency. You can have infections of different types, as pulmonary infection, urinary infections. You can have one of your limbs amputated, one of your lower limbs amputated, because those people develop wounds which don't heal easily. So at the end, sometimes they develop gangrene and amputation of their lower limbs. So, and some of them can develop blindness. You see, so these are the things we are afraid of. We don't want the patients to get blind, because they can really become a problem for the society of themselves.
All right. There are some cases that are a little difficult to understand, especially for the layman. Maybe for you as a medical expert, you can quickly understand, but there are some cases that even medical experts sometimes find it difficult to understand. For example, somebody who has no trace of diabetes in his or her lineage, that is, there's nobody in the family who has ever suffered of diabetes and so on, and then the person goes to hospital, maybe gets pregnant, and then is constantly going for checkup and other medical rendezvous, delivers normally, continues going to the hospital, and there's no trace of kind of something like that happening, and all of a sudden it just pops up and then runs up to 2, the sugar level 3, 4, and even 5. How can this be explained?
Yes, we have different type of diabetes. So if you have a case where diabetes just comes up very brutally, it might be probably type 1 diabetes, because we have 2 different types of diabetes. We have type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is a juvenile type of diabetes. It occurs very brutally. The blood sugar goes up very fast. It's an autoimmune disease. You need certain conditions to develop the disease. As here, the blood sugar will just pop up, as you said, and the person will have the symptoms of diabetes. And we have type 2 diabetes, where the symptoms come very slow. As here, the person who develop diabetes, and when you develop diabetes, the blood sugar is not very high generally, but the person will develop weakness, and all the other symptoms of diabetes. Here, the symptoms are not very brutal, and it happens. It occurs when people are generally when people are more than 35 years old. But nowadays, we have younger people who develop the type 2 diabetes because of the fact that we're not very active, they take weight, and because, as you know, weight intake is the main cause of the type 2 diabetes. So, as you said, type 1 diabetes, brutal diabetes, blood sugar goes up very fast, very brutally. The person can fall into coma even. And type 2 diabetes, it will raise up gradually, and will find the blood sugar high, but not very high. The person will just come by himself to the hospital and say, well, he has some malaise.
Now, what should a patient do when once you discover that you have diabetes, run to the hospital? What after that? When you leave the hospital and go back home, what should be done to avoid or to keep the blood sugar low, the level of sugar in the blood low?
Yes, it's better you follow what the medical doctor says, because the treatment of diabetes depends on the type of diabetes, and the rate of blood sugar. If the blood sugar is not very high, the doctor can put you on diet. If not, the doctor can put you on oral treatment. If you put you on oral treatment, continue taking your treatment and just control your blood sugar regularly, or go to the rendezvous if at all the doctor calls you for one. So you need constant control of your blood sugar, following your diet and taking your treatment as the doctor prescribed.
All right. And what if somebody decides to take, I don't know, there are some drugs produced by some tradi practitioners and so on, some concoctions, some herbs and other things that are mixed up there and given to the patient to drink and so on. Is it advisable?
Well, I'm not a traditional healer, so I can't really answer this, but personally I'm against that, because we have never had proof that traditional medicine treats diabetes. If at all it does, it's very good. If at all they would say how the drug acts, where it acts, which organ, for us not to have any interaction with our own modern drugs. So, but I've had cases where people take these traditional drugs and come with very high blood sugar with complications already. So it's very unfortunate, of course, but I wouldn't advise people to take those drugs, because I've seen many cases. I mean, there are many cases where we see people with very serious complications after taking these drugs. It can be renal problems or other complications after taking the traditional drugs. And it's not advisable. For the moment, I've not seen, and I'm not sure there is a drug, a traditional drug, which can treat diabetes.
All right. Now, when the sugar level goes down to normal, can the patient stop taking the insulin, taking the prescriptions from the medical doctor, and it will remain normal, the sugar level?
No, you can't stop taking the drug. Diabetes is a chronic disease. The type 1 or type 2 diabetes is a chronic disease. So type 1 diabetes treatment is insulin. That's insulin. When you say you have type 1 diabetes, your treatment is insulin, and you have to abide. You have to take your treatment without arguing, because if you stop taking your treatment, you fall sick. That's straight. Type 2 diabetes, the treatment can be a diet.
You stop taking your treatment, you fall sick
immediately
after 2 days, 3 days?
A few days, because the blood sugar goes up directly. Yeah, after a few days, 1-2 days, you start feeling bad. That's all. So you start urinating frequently, you start getting tired, you start drinking a lot of water. That's how it happens. Type 1 diabetes. Same for type 2 diabetes. When they say your treatment is diet, you should follow your diet. If you say the treatment is diet and your oral drugs, then take your oral drugs and diet. If you stop them, then the blood sugar will go up, and you risk to develop complications with time. These people have not very high blood sugar, but just the small augmentation of the blood sugar can give complications with time. It's very dangerous, so you shouldn't stop taking your drugs.
You can always take it.
You can have complications. Yes.
What kind of complications?
As I said earlier, you can become blind. You can have a stroke. You can have heart disease. You can have kidney problems. You can have infections. You can lose one of your limbs. You can cut one of your feet.
All right, doctor, before we go, prevention. It is often said that prevention is better than cure. How can somebody avoid contracting diabetes? I'm talking about somebody who is not. Is it possible for somebody who is born in a family where there are traces of diabetes to avoid it?
Of course, even if there are traces of diabetes, it's a genetic disease. So if genetically, if you don't contract the gene, I mean, genetically you won't have the illness. And secondly, as we said, there is overweight. If at all you struggle not to take weight, then you can stop the illness from attacking you, or you can reduce the time the illness can attack you. Yeah, so losing weight is the key of not having diabetes, especially type 2 diabetes.
Then the eating habits also.
Eating habits, that's not taking weight, is having good eating habits and good physical activities.
Should we completely avoid fatty foods?
If possible,
sugar?
If possible, yes. If possible, yes. You can avoid completely, of course. If you can do
this
so.
Is very difficult.
No, it's very difficult, of course. It's practically sometimes impossible because we have certain eating habits already from childhood. So, well, no, if at all, you know that in your family you have diabetes, you should know that after the age of 35 or sometimes even before, you can contract the illness. So what you should do is that you should try not to eat very energetic foods. You should try not to take weight. You should be physically active. Don't smoke. Don't take alcohol.
Don't smoke.
Yes.
Don't take alcohol at all.
At all. It's better.
All right. Some people will say that, doctor, but this thing that you're saying is very difficult. How can you say that I should not be taking sugar, I should not drink alcohol? You know, Cameroonians are very good alcohol consumers, and so on. I should stop smoking. Doctor, it's very difficult for me to stop this thing. What will you tell this kind of person?
Well, you know, prevention is better than cure. You know, when you advise somebody, you understand that you've done your job. You've done your job. There's nobody who was born with alcohol or sugar or cigarettes. So I think if we started bad habits, we can stop them too, you know. So I won't advise somebody to take alcohol just because he wants to enjoy himself, you know. But I mean, everything has to be moderate. But you know, moderate like this or moderate like that, that's the question. You see?
Right. Yeah. Now, for somebody who is addicted to alcohol, addicted to cigarette, how can that person come out of it?
Well, better you meet a specialist for that. You know.
All right. Yeah. They will give you maybe the therapy or something.
Okay, advices, therapy for that. So it's better you meet a specialist for that. Saying because alcohol at the end, when you're addicted, it's already a drug. You know. When you're addicted to something, you know, you need to meet a specialist, somebody who help you in one way or the other to stop taking these substances.
All right, take home message from Dr. Ivan Ken: no alcohol, no cigarette, less fatty food, less sugar to avoid, and then for those who are already into it, respect medical prescriptions.
Physical activity.
Do physical activities also to avoid accumulation of energy in the system that will develop into weight and so on.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, Dr. Nkeng. You are endocrinologist. Well, it's quite difficult. Endocrinologist. Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for inviting.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today.